no, it's all the attempts.
I just went live though. We'll see if it pops up here. Oh, there we go. We're on.
All right, there you go.
We're live now. Going from my new internet to live. And the reason we're going live is because, well, we really didn't want to edit, so we figured it was just easier to pop on live.
Yeah, that's live is always the easier way to do it, right?
Of course, your camera is now frozen, so.
Is it?
Oh no, there it goes. It's good.
Okay.
Now.
I was probably trying to do too much on my own computer is the issue. So I can kill some of the other stuff here and
make
it so my camera doesn't.
I think I got.
Oh, is it you? Okay.
Yeah, I got too aggressive on what I was doing because I'm hosting the stream. So we'll see. We'll see if anybody shows up on here. And we're not expecting any because we're kind of a sinking ship in a way.
It feels like that sometimes. It's a little chaotic, maybe would be the best way to describe it.
And your picture got smaller, so we'll just go like that real quick and fix it on the fly. Usually I don't do the streaming here, so that's that's part of the reason. So just kind of fixing stuff as we go through.
Yeah.
So big weekend. It's the Outsider release. I did a pre-release last weekend, and I wish I could come back and just be like, it was absolutely amazing. It was the greatest thing ever. And I really can't. And I think this happened a lot of places. I accidentally fatigued. Like I wasn't doing a fatigue strategy. I was just blocking WTR sealed
style. Yep.
Yeah. Which means you block a lot. A lot of 2-card hands. You try to get an arsenal for a bigger hand and save up for the big turn. And it just ended up fatiguing. Like the whole, is it Uzuri? What's her name?
Yep. Uzuri.
That, it's like blocking Dorinthia. So you put out your stealth card. Guess what? I'm going to block for 2 cards. If I don't have
just block 6, right?
What's that? Yeah.
Just block 6.
Yeah. Because it's sealed, so there's no big secret. It makes it's actually worse than Dory was. Because there was tons of reaction. So I thought she was very vanilla. And I used her so this is a funny thing. I used her the first round and lost. Mm-hmm. And I was paying for the card I was banishing. I'm like, this is not a good deck. This is horseshit. Because I didn't realize until round 2 when I switched to Azalea that I didn't have to pay for that card. I'm like, oh, this would have been much better. Regardless of that, I was going to switch to Azalea for the round 2 because I had 15 arrows.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's been the biggest topic or the biggest discussion point has been the struggle with the Rangers is that you need to have either enough arrows or enough traps. With Katsu, you have to have enough combo cards. And with Benji, you're kind of in the boat that you're similar to like Uzuri, where you have a little more flexibility. You're not required to open certain cards to feel like you have a shot, right? And it feels like everybody but Uzuri and maybe Benji have they kind of need certain things to function and to have some reasonable functionality in their deck. And that's where it sounds like there was somebody who was on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but they said they were one of the lucky stores that got extra boxes, and they did a draft after they were done with their sealed for people who wanted to stay around. They did a draft with a box, and they said the draft was way better because you were able to stay open a little bit longer with the different classes and have a little more flexibility, right? So you could maybe early you take a trap as a ranger and you can play both directions. And then if you start to notice wow, I'm getting all the traps, play Riptide. If you're taking ninja cards, you can take just the good generic blues that have go again because they work for Benji, but they also pitch for Kodachis for Katsu. And they pitch, if they're 0 cost, they pitch to his effect. You can discard them to his effect. So you've got the you just have that luxury that you could stay open a little bit longer than you typically were in draft. Like that was kind of the gripe of uprising, right? Was that you had to commit first pick, like pack one, pick one. You basically almost for sure had to like commit to what you were drafting, which is not where you want to be in a draft.
That was, I mean, you had the one of the biggest problems with that. Oh, sweet, my air compressor just kicked on. So, if anybody hears, that's my air compressor in the background for airbrushing, and I'll get into that in a second. But you had your fab elitists who bitched because people were so bad they screwed up their draft.
Yeah.
Like, you're such a good player that somebody was so bad, though, they messed up your draft because they're so bad and you're so good. Like, it made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. I'm like, we're glad you're the greatest and everybody else is the worst, but get over yourself a little bit.
Well, and if they're that bad at drafting, then even if they screwed up your draft, it shouldn't screw you up in a way that's going to make you lose to them. Like, if they're drafting that poorly, that's like the whole. Well, I only lost to them because their deck had some weird combo thing I've never seen before, and it's like, well, so was it bad, or were you just not prepared for it, so you lost to it? Because like people will do that whole, well, it's just a bad combo. You're like, well, it beat you, so is it that bad?
So I'll be curious as more and more people mess around with this set. I am gonna do a box tournament on Saturday at Viral because I've never done one. And I'll be completely honest here. My fab playing has gone down a ton and will continue to go down a ton. I'm guessing that I will play Flesh and Blood about 10% of what I did in the previous 2 years.
Yeah, I mean...
Just because we're at a point where... I don't know if there's a ton of new people entering the fray right now. There is new people... But the grinders that are out there, they're just grinding hard for XP, and my old man mentality just can't do it anymore. We talked about this offline of just it's hard. We played so much Flesh and Blood for 2 years that it's really tough to keep that up in anything, and it's no knock on Flesh and Blood. It's just knock on us trying to sustain that same level, because I still, when I play Flesh and Blood, and I went 3-1 in the pre-release, and I've played since Thanksgiving. This was my 4th time playing, so I played in 2 Pro Quests, 1 Armory, in this. That's it. So I still, like, if I play, I want to win, but when you playing like Pro Quests and I had a 3-3, that was absolutely horrendous for me. I've never done that bad in that type of event. So it's hard for me to continue because you're not going to see all the decks. I didn't even read all the cards coming into this, partly because it's the first set where I was surprised by a bunch of the cards. I didn't watch any spoilers, especially because I was out of town during them. So I was reading cards, what the hell does this do? Which was fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that. Yeah. And so that's why I went to my comfort of Azalea. And when I do the box tournament on Saturday, I will more than likely force Azalea just because that's my comfort food, which everybody's like, what do you mean? How is Azalea's anybody's comfort food? That's the most ridiculous statement ever. But I have played Azalea a ton trying to be good with her at a failure like everybody else. So it's, I don't know. I'll keep trying. I'm gonna try with this. I think maybe she can do something, especially in a sealed format like this.
There's just a lot of good cards. Like I think that's the big thing is.
What's up, Andrew?
Oh yeah, what's up, Andrew? I think the thing with with the arrows now is that they actually offer turn by turn negative hits versus very specific ones. Like they're generally just good. Like giving someone a blood pox token can just give them a damage versus like red in the ledger where you're like it's really good when it's really good and when it's not good it's just a lot of damage. And that like how we've been for so long in Flesh and Blood, we've existed in this world of like, what do you do if it's just damage? You just take it if you can give it back.
Right.
It's okay to trade damage, right? So I don't.
I'm gonna give my whole strategy. So, being the way this set was made, going into a draft or into a sealed event, I had a very WTR mindset, which is still the greatest sealed
draft set. Yeah,
there is. And I'm not putting draft. I'm just saying sealed. As far as sealed goes, WTR is still better, and I'll tell you why it's a lot better. And I'll tell you why if you have 15-ish arrows, I think it's foolish not to go with Azalea. The reason is you could go Bravo and WTR and set up your dominate to win the game, right? You just dominate to win the game. Guess who does that really well? Azalea.
Yeah.
She can dominate. So I immediately, the first couple arrows I see, I try to put those underneath and then just do my 5-6 attacks, right? Mm-hmm. So if I can pitch one card, attack for 5 to 6, then I'm going to get 2 cards, or they're taking 5 to 6 damage, which is really bad in this set. And no, Focus Flute, which sounds weird. I don't even know what that means. This game is not dying. I am dying. That's what's happening.
I think that
no,
I mean
not
honestly,
really actually I am really dying. We're all really dying.
We're all dying slowly every day.
I'm not playing as much just because the time allowance to truly be good at this game and competitive is like none other. You can't just. Some people can. I can't personally just jump into it. I can still do well, but not to my standards at this game of like being 500 was horrible. I'm tell you, at Pro Quest going 500 sucked.
Yeah. The big thing, and we've talked about this, right, is the fact that the struggle with Fab right now is there's like this huge dichotomy of the game's existence where you're either a casual player who is having fun and enjoying yourself and you're willing to go lose if that means playing your favorite hero. And that's not to say that you can't win with your favorite hero if they're like an off-meta hero. But like generally, right, you have to kind of accept that if you're going to play something weird and funky, there's a good chance that you could lose, or you might surprise people, or you're somebody who just grinds a ton. And that's who you are. And it's like that's kind of where the game exists right now, is that dichotomy. There's not somewhere in the middle. Like there's not a place in the middle of the game that allows people to just play together. And we've talked about that ad nauseum on here, which is just there's no commander format in this game. And games that don't have a casual format tend to feel like there's maybe a hole. Like it feels like there's kind of a gap in the game where people can't do something in between, because not everybody has the time to be playing all the time, and they want to do something in between that's still involved with the game. Like they want to do something that's have a way to play it that lets them play the game, but not necessarily play that like constant grind of always trying to play competitively.
So when I will still sign up for the RTNs just because they're local, so I will sign up for them and play them. And I will run one of 3 decks. It's either going to be Bolton, because a lot of people still don't know how to block him. Sorry, had to burp. 7-Up, not going to do it in the microphone. It's one thing I've learned from 120 other podcasts, which that's a lie because I haven't been on even nearly close to that amount of the ones I've skipped. Bolton, Azalea, like truly Azalea, or Kano. But Kano takes a lot of mind power, and sometimes you just want to relax and have some fun until you can shoot an arrow that's like for 17 dominated, and watch them cry a little bit because they can't do anything about it.
I agree with Nathaniel that they can't come out with PvE fast enough, especially if they've got a way to play it where you can play like 1v2 or something, because I think that somebody can pilot the big bad. I would think that would actually be even better, because there are people who like Jason, you are one of those people who very much prefers playing against each other. You enjoy that like interaction of playing against people versus cooperative games, right? Like cooperative isn't your jam.
Not a
but
lot.
Some people love cooperative.
Very few games I can do cooperatively.
Yeah, and they have to be a specific type. But even beyond that, if you could play like 1v2, you be the bad guy versus two good guys, or vice versa, right? Like you're the big bad, you're the boss, and they have to take you down. That's an acceptable way to play that gives you a competitive feeling, but doesn't have to be played at like an XP grinding level, right? Like people can play something fun and combo-y and stupid into that, and everyone can have fun laughing at the chaos.
Right. No, I mean, and I think that's the key is laughter. And that is one reason why we'll play like Blood Bowl, because you'll have these insane moments of laughter where you have to roll and hit on 8 dice, and then you do it and you score a touchdown, or you eat your guy because you roll ones and your dude just eats your other player and he's gone. That shit's hilarious. And we laugh our asses off, win or lose. I've yet to laugh losing at Fab. Like, I still take it a little personal, and it like eats at my soul a little bit every game I lose. Like I don't know this with Flesh and Blood, but I there's something about it. I don't like losing in Flesh and Blood. I don't know what it is. I can lose in a lot of games. Losing at this game really eats me a little bit. What do you mean, Dylan? XP grinding? What a toxic relationship. XP grinding and what? To have a relationship, you have to have 2 things, Dylan. What the hell are you talking about? XP grinding? That's like a asymmetrical relationship with itself. I don't even. I don't know what that means. You need something.
Part of the reason.
You need something else.
So to your point, part of the reason that I think that losing in Fab feels bad, or maybe feels worse than in some other games, is the fact that the game is so married to its competitive scene. Like that was part of what they were standing on their platform, right? Where people are just like, this is what this game is going to be competitive. They're going to take over for Magic. It's going to be the premier competitive game. And most of what they do is competitive. But I will tell you right now, the best calling and the most fun calling I have ever played in was the team calling. Because
you could actually have fun.
You could have fun and laugh, and I had good interaction with the other people. And I have maybe one of the most hilarious moments in, I think, my Fab life is the fact that we had a situation where I was sitting in the middle. Dane is on one side, Robert's on the other. I have a decision to make where I'm not 100% sure if I should go for it or not. I'm playing Kano and Blitz, right? So sometimes I need help. Like, do I go for it because it could cost me the game? We're a team. Help me decide. And Dane leans over and looks. He has admittedly no idea what he's looking for. He goes, "Do you think you got a chance?" And I'm like, "Yeah. I mean, I think I got a chance. I just don't know if I want to go for it or not." And he's like, "Do it, man. Go for it." And he had just lost his game. Like, he had lost his game. We needed to win mine and Robert's. So... Or no, I think he won his game, so we needed to win one of the two. So he leans over to me, he's like, "Go for it." And I lost. And I was like, "God, this sucks. Like, I can't..." And I was like, classic fashion, I was like 1 damage or 1 resource or something short. So I'm just cleaning my stuff up. Robert asked a question. He goes, "Hey, so I have like 2 lines here. Which one do I take?" And Dane leans over and looks at it. And he's like, Robert explains what's happening. And he goes... Man, I mean, the odds are better that you're gonna, like, you get this, right? Like, this is where you get it. And Robert, it was like a beast within banish, because he was playing Rhinar, and he was like, he was at like 6 life or something stupid. And he's like, banish 1, lose a life, banish 2, lose a life, banish 3, lose a life, banish 4, lose a life. He only has like 8 misses in his entire deck, and he missed enough to kill himself off of Beast Within
Yeah, I
from like
remember
6
that.
out. And Aiden just like leans back. He's like, nobody asked me for advice ever again. Like, I'm not. He's like, I just literally lost 2 games. I don't even know how that's possible. Like,
Well, it's bad advice. That's how it's possible. If you give bad advice, you just lose. So yeah, I don't know what. Like I said, I'm not down on the game. I'm down on me not grinding the game. So I don't want to give this impersonation that the game has done something wrong. It hasn't done anything wrong.
no.
But I know everybody came to us for high level, super experienced gameplay analysis, and I just don't know that that they're gonna get that. I mean, we're like I mean, I think I started with this, but we're like the Titanic. We're just a sinking ship here of subs. I mean, we've moved on and we're playing other games along with Flesh and Blood, which I will say this is how degenerate I am. So after saying all that, one thing I love is I love like national events that are local so that I can just show up and compete in. I love that. Like Destiny Worlds, all that kind of stuff. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So it turns out a Song of Fire and Ice, which is a miniatures game, which I wanted nothing to do with
Fire.
for the longest time. Scott at the source, you gotta play, never play. So I'm playing my MCP league game against none other than Dane, who does some weird sequencing at the beginning, and I don't know what he was thinking. Then he just got hulked by me, because that's what Hulk does, is kill things. And next to me is our good buddy Christopher Bates, who big into Fab, and Blake playing A Song of Fire and Ice. And I love Game of Thrones, and it was amazing. It was like, this is very Game of Thrones. It's very Battlefield. I enjoy a lot of the stuff that's happening right now. I'm probably going to go on eBay when I get home and start buying stuff. And I haven't even played a game, but if there's a national, it shouldn't be that hard to qualify for. I don't have to travel to go do it. That's the other thing. I was telling my wife this. So when I was 19 through like 25, I did bass tournaments and I fished competitively, which never do that because it wears you out of the fun of having fishing. The same way if you grind anything. So I would pre-fish a tournament or a lake for 14 hours, every ounce of sunlight. You do that for 3-4 days, fish a tournament, and then you would do sport shows and you would sit in convention centers for 3-4 days straight in the cement under the fluorescent lights, and it eats on you. And after I don't even remember the last one I did. I remember my voice was gone, and I felt like we were at some rave all weekend because I was just drained. And it's the convention center, like card games sitting in them, and I know it's no different for any other game, except for that Game Center has windows all the way around. And A Song of Fire and Ice will be at the Game Center in Roseville, I believe is where it is, right?
Yeah, it's a Game Center.
Yeah, so you're not in a convention center. You're in a nice place that you can walk outside easily. It's at a beautiful time in the year for Minnesota in September. Probably listening to the Vikings lose. I mean, it's just all kinds of positivity. So yeah, so I'm going to try to qualify for U.S. Nationals in A Song of Fire and Ice. You're hearing it first. This is me throwing my hat into the ring of A Song of Fire and Ice. I am going to try to make it to U.S. Nationals in September.
So you should start by calling it the right name, which is Ice and Fire.
What am I saying?
Ice and Fire. Fire and Ice.
I mean,
it's Ice and Fire. You got it backwards.
I like saying Fire and Ice better, to be honest.
Fire and Ice. Little thunder, little lightning, little thunder, little lightning.
Yeah, but lots of dice rolling, easily mitigated, lots of cool little shenanigans, backstabbery. Everything about it was fun. You still have cards. I like games that do more, like, so you can have cards.
Some other form of mechanic than just specifically dice. It adds a level.
I lose my thought because I always take Andrew's comments very seriously. So like I go to read his because he usually puts in really good input.
Yeah,
His
are
points
so
are always
thoughtful.
very solid.
Yeah.
Yes, commitments. The commitments are real. So my son's coming to senior year for lacrosse. I think you guys have heard me talk about lacrosse before, once or twice on this channel. So senior year's coming up. That's not missing a game. That's, you know what I mean. A lot of stuff's gonna go in. There's a lot of pre-gaming with parents. Okay, a lot of pre-gaming with parents, which means you have to leave 2 hours early to go to the lacrosse game. Find a local watering hole before it, so you're vocal, so that the refs hear you. You know, to tell them how good of a job they're doing calling the game.
Very good. Always a good job. Referees never make mistakes.
Well, I'm having a kid. Yeah, in that's the biggest way you lose people in any game. I think is freaking kids. I mean, Jesus, they just ruin lives. It's all children do. If you have a baby, if you're considering having a baby, just don't. It just ruins your life and everything that you enjoyed. It's just gone.
You're never gonna get. You're never gonna get to.
Until they can feed and wipe their own ass. I mean, it's. And then add 5 years to that age. That's when you can start getting back into things.
Then you've got a short window before they get involved in sports and
out
extracurriculars, and then you have all that going on.
You got like from 7 to 10.
Yep.
And if you have your kids hardcore at 7 to 10, you probably shouldn't have had children. Let's just be honest. You gotta, once they hit 10, 11, and they have some motor skills and they're not just running around like a bobblehead, then you can start getting a little bit serious. But if you're going really just like hardcore Hollywood dad at like 7 years old with your child, you probably just shouldn't have children.
Yeah, Tyler is 100% accurate right there. Behind every adult nerd that still has time to play is a saint of a wife/partner. 100% accurate. When I randomly just ask my wife, it's like, hey, so I know we just got a puppy and I know we got the kids and everything, but do you mind if I go play games with my friends? She's like, yeah, I mean, I worked all day, but sure, I'll take care of the house all night too.
But here, just to make you feel better, I get to pretend I'm a dragon for one of the guys, so that should make everything better.
Yeah. My dragon did get like an early kill where Chris misunderstood what a unit was supposed to do. He put a guy right behind. I put my dragon in, and Chris sees the rear flank man, and he was ready. He just runs up behind it, and then he looks down and reads the card. After making the move and committing the attack, he looks down. He's like, "This guy only has 2 dice." Realize he's got 2 attack dice. Like, yeah, you're definitely not going to kill the dragon with that guy. And then he missed on both, and I was like, so for my dragon's activation, he's going to turn around and eat that guy. And Chris is like, yeah, he only has 2 dice to defend. He only has a 5-up save, so he's got a terrible save too.
Yeah, who won that game, by the way? Because I left just a bit before you guys finished. Who pulled it out?
Chris won.
Damn, I wanted to rip him right now.
Yeah, it was a fun. I had no idea.
The Blake and Chris interactions on rules was even funnier than the actual game being played. Like, I gotta back up. I should have done this. Well, if you're backing that shit up, then I'm backing this. Oh God, it was like they were yelling but laughing at the same time. It was like we should have recorded that game. That would have been a perfect game to record. And if you want to learn something about the game, it would absolutely not be the game you want to watch. But if you're the type of person that likes to type on your keyboard every single mistake, you're going to be writing a novel, baby. You will be writing a novel.
You'd have to replace your keyboard because 100% the number of times, although I will say, Chris liked to point at me and be like, oh, so we're doing take-backs? And I'm like, well, considering I've never even played the game before, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do a take-backsy here because it took me 3 activations of a unit to realize that I was to get my units and my cards matched up. Because not only have I never played Song of Ice and Fire, I have never seen Game of Thrones and never read the book. So there was no identification about who was who because it's these guys are neutral armies. That's why they're brown. And I'm like, I don't know who the neutral armies are in Game of Thrones because I don't know what Game of Thrones is about. I just know that there's dragons and people. Pedro Pascal is in it. There's a guy that's the mountain who is the world's strongest man. That's pretty much it for me. That's as far as I get into Game of
Which
Thrones.
is funny because I know, like, I didn't realize how much I knew about Game of Thrones, so we started playing and I'm remembering all these names of everything. MCP, Tyler, we splurged MCP from January, pretty much the month of January. I think I played like 17 games of MCP. And that's not an exaggeration. We've been tracking the games we've been playing, and I think it was 17. And we're doing a little league for MCP. We're meeting once a week, which to me, I'm a little burnt out on MCP because we did play it a little too. We got way too hardcore.
The
MCP.
the league pace is great. Like if I could have
Once
leagues
a
that
week
would
is
hold
great.
me to a once a week thing, it's perfect. I think right now the game that I can play more than once a week pretty consistently is Blood Bowl, but that's mainly because every game is such a different experience and I can play in multiple leagues with different teams. So it's like the same as with Fab. If you played at 2 armories in a week but you played with different heroes, kind of helps with that variety and not feeling stagnant.
And that's what I did in Flesh and Blood. And now, so I never was addicted to like drugs. I can go a long time without drinking. And I'm like, I don't really have addictive personality. And it turns out I was wrong. So, I counted before we started. There's star players in Blood Bowl, and there's 51 of them. I have all but 17 painted. I just counted. I only have 17 left. And of those 17 left to paint, 6 of them are pretty far along. I just clear-coated before we started this pod 5 guys that just threw clear on. I just got to put a little grass on them. And I think I have 9 Blood Bowl teams. And I bought another one for who knows why, but that just came today. I don't know. I love having these miniatures and playing. Blood Bowl is an amazing game. If you've never played the game, you need to play it. It is so much fun because it is a game that I believe most people could play it and not care if they win or lose. Like we said before.
Right. Yep.
I hate losing at Flesh and Blood. I hate it. I don't care when I lose at Blood Bowl just because me and Blake have had a game that I know I 8-rolled him to win, and I know he did the same thing back to me throwing a dude. So it just happens, and it's amazing. You laugh your ass off when somebody just hits all the rolls. And the same thing has happened. I watched Mason. All he needed, he had 2 shots to not roll 2 in a row to beat Chris, who won our league. Chris won our league. New guy wins the league. That's a whole different story. And Mason goes 1-1, falls over, and they end in a tie. Just shit like that. Just you look down like that. That's what happens.
I think the big thing about Blood Bowl is it does a good job of adding a flavor in that makes it pretty much impossible to take seriously, because in most games you're trying to have fun. In order for the game to function, it needs to create like a serious scenario. Like the scenario has to be very serious. Whereas when you're playing Blood Bowl, the thought of it alone, right, that you're effectively playing with fantasy races. It's like, imagine if they dropped a football stadium in the middle of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, and they were just like, all right, tonight, elves, dwarves, you're going to play some football, but you're going to have a fixture, and you're going to do it on a pitch because this is not real football. This is a parody of American football made by people from the UK. So there's going to be like weird intermixing of words. You're like, okay, cool. So we're just going to play football. You're like, right. Also, you can hire a guy who throws bombs, and he can throw bombs at other players. And you're like, okay, interesting. That's cool. I guess that's cool.
Or
it's like,
chainsaw.
And you can chainsaw a guy. You can stab a guy. You know what? That troll can throw that goblin. He can just throw that goblin. And you know what? The goblin could run. He could take the football, run, land, and score a touchdown. Or you can try to throw him at a player, and he might die. He could also kill the other player.
Tyler, if you ever want to play Blood Bowl, between me, just me and Blake. I'm not going to count Chris or Dane. Just between me and Blake, we have like 70% of the teams of the 31 possible teams.
The 31 possible teams.
In between our whole, just 4 of us, Chris and Dane, I think we have almost all of them.
Almost all of them. Yep.
There's
all.
Like chaos. I know like there's 2-3 that we don't have.
Dwarves. Yeah.
But dwarves
we don't have.
Chris, if Chris hasn't ordered dwarves, he'll have it soon.
Well, he has dwarves, but there's like chaos dwarves.
Right. Yeah.
But like, there's very few teams that we don't have amongst us. So yeah.
So
I can't do anything for people who don't live close to us. I can tell you that the best way to play it is either A, if you have a kid who is 10-ish in that ballpark.
Yeah, 10 you can start
play.
simple.
Yep. You can play. My son loves to play the game. We play Blood Bowl 3 together. We take turns, stuff like that. Or if you just have a friend who's interested, just go halvesies on the starter box because it's super affordable. It has everything you need to play.
The teams are actually good.
Teams.
They're good teams.
Yeah, they're good teams. It's great. If you live close, like Tyler, who's one of the ones talking about it, you just have to send us a message and we will get you set up.
Yeah, and we'll meet, and then we will.
Yeah,
it's like a cult to join our league.
Yeah, you can join the league.
I gotta tell you the disappointment of the week. Can I tell you the disappointment of my week?
Do it.
So we're sitting down last night talking to the wife, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing this." I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do the Flesh and Blood box event on Saturday." She's like, "Oh, I thought we were going to Chicago to that convention." I'm like, "To Adepticon?" I'm like, "So you want to go to Adepticon, and you're just telling me this now after I already made events?" So she was ready to go to Adepticon, so we could have played the new Shatterpoint Star Wars miniature game made by Atomic Mass Games, same people that make Marvel Crisis Protocol. So I could have gone to that. And it was very disappointing because I would kind of rather go do that than sit at home. Like, I'd rather just drive to Chicago and go see it, because the crazy thing, I'm like, oh, you can't get tickets anymore. I'm like, oh, registration's closed. And then I keep reading, oh, you don't need a ticket to go in and demo and go into the hall is just free. The only thing you need tickets for if you're in an event. And there is hundreds upon hundreds of events for all the different Warhammer games and Blood Bowl and MCP and a Song of Ice and Fire.
Ice and Fire. You got it.
Ice and Fire.
Ice and Fire.
I have my rule book front page right here. So it'll be fun. And let me remind everybody, when I say I am trying to go to U.S. Nationals in this game in September, and I've played 0 games. I don't even have a figure yet. I have 36 pages of manual that I've been going through to read. But I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, why
You've
not?
Heard it here first. I don't know where else you'd hear it, but if you're going to hear it first, it's going to come from this stage, this microphone. So that's...
Because that's just what we do.
Just lots of games. Like, I do... So when you play... So here's what happened to me as well. Oh, like, you go through your closet and you see how many games and cards, and just it's kind of depressing, but then it's exciting at the same time. So after watching your game, and then I played Flesh and Blood, and so I got a Song of Ice and Fire, and I got Flesh and Blood, and then I remember I have I'd say 60% of a Game of Thrones, the card game. And so I'm like, I really want to play this now. Like, that mixes cards. And the game's a lot of fun. That's another really fun LCG card game, is a Game of Thrones. Because you're doing different things, and it's got a lot of features like Fab, where the way you activate, and you can only activate guys doing your 3 intrigue or attack. Like, there's different things, and you have bases below. It's another great game. There's so many good games that it makes you appreciate your games that you love, like Flesh and Blood. But it's good to go and play those and then come back. Yeah. See? Nathaniel, you'd fit in great with our group by the sounds of the comments I'm reading.
Yeah.
Like, you could be a degenerate. Our group is so degenerate, it's ridiculous. Like, people, I know we talk about it, you think we're, what do you call it?
Exaggerating?
Yeah, exaggerating it. We don't. I legitimately bought a Song of Fire and Ice stuff off eBay today after literally just watching a game.
I mean, to be fair, that's basically the same as what happened with Blood Bowl last
it
year
is.
before we started our season. Jason bought the starter, played a single game with Mason, a single game, messaged Dane and I and said, guys, this game is so much fun. You should do it. You should try it. And we were like, yeah, let's figure out a time to try it. That would be great. And we decided we were going to try it. And then before I could schedule a game with Jason, I had a team bought and assembled. I bought a pitch. I bought the rule book. And I was sitting there like, it just happened. Like, what, why am I even, what happened right there? How did that happen? But, you know, that's what, I don't know. That's just what I, like, that's just my thing is, I mean, and then funny enough, we get Pat. So, like, right, it was just me, Dane, and Jason. We were the degenerates. Then we kind of decided that we needed to play Crisis Protocol, mainly because Jason and I had so many minis. And Dane was like, well, I'll buy a team. I'll buy a faction. So we were playing. And then we mentioned it on here, and Chris Bates goes, well, I have a bunch. Let me know. We can have 4 people. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that. Chris plays game with us. Chris, you should play Blood Bowl with us. You would like Blood Bowl. Next thing we know, Chris has a team, and he's playing in our league. And then he's like, Pat, you should play Blood Bowl with me. You would like it.
Pat had played it years ago.
Pat had played it, yeah, like 20 years ago, he said. And then, hilariously, Pat's in the group chat, and Pat, being the gaming degenerate he is just like us, he's like, yeah, I don't know if I could get, we were talking about Song, and he's like, I don't know if I could get into that. I don't know if I could get into that. And today, Pat's like, I mean, if you guys got an army, I would.
Well, he's like, I'm not big into the Marvel or Star Wars, but I do like me some Game of Thrones. The funniest part, though, and I remember this, it sticks in my head. When Chris, and he probably doesn't even remember this, he's like, I like Blood Bowl, but you know, I like MCB better. Like, I forget how he phrased it.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, he's like, I love this game. Like, loved Blood Bowl. Like, to the fact that he's got a shit ton of teams now as well.
At least 6 now. Yeah, I think he's got at least 6.
Right. So it's because it's fun. All of them do different stuff. I don't know. It's an amazing game. There's just a ton of games. Ton of games out there. I mean, Nathaniel said not many people to play. So my wife and I play Game of Thrones LCG. That's who I've played against only. I've only played against her. And she enjoys the game a lot and hates card games. But I think because we're not playing a degenerate finding the best deck, we're playing what's fun, that it's more of a board game, just the way you're setting up your board, you're getting guys. But we have found some combos where it's just like, you wipe out the other person's stuff. Like, oh, that seems really, really good.
It's well, and realistically, right? It's basically what it takes us all the way back to what we talked about at the very beginning, which is just that Fab has to find an avenue like for that. They have to find a way to create a place for people to just be able to have fun and feel like it can be fun, which is why I think there's so much back and forth a lot of times when we come to skirmish season and it's Blitz, and there's a bunch of people who are like, I hate Blitz, it's stupid, Blitz is too chaotic, ugh. And it's like, I get it, I really do, but at the same time, what makes Blitz fun a lot of times is the idiotic nature of the format, where I almost lost in a skirmish, either last one or the one. Chris is Chris drunk commenting?
I don't know, Chris. You still tying one on?
I played a skirmish game against a guy on KO, and he almost killed me on turn 1, and I blocked with as many cards as I could possibly block with. Just he kept rolling the 6. He's like, I rolled 6, and I was like, oh my god, you should roll a different dice. And then he rolled another dice, and he got another 6. And I was like, roll the first dice again. And he had like somehow had go again, and all this stupid stuff. He rolled scab skins, and I was just like, what is happening? And it was stupid, but it was like one of the few times I've genuinely laughed hysterically playing Ab, because he did this stupid thing, and then on turn 2, I found like my wildfire or something. I put it in my arsenal, and then he tried to kill me on the next turn, and I killed him instantly. It's like we played 2.5 turns, and the game is completely over. And it's like it's Blitz, and it's chaotic, and it's insane. But that's what some people really like about it, right? Is it's that like just having formats where people can have fun doesn't exist. And I love constructed and I love
I
playing
was baited.
competitively.
Do I still? We'll have to change the thumbnail. I don't even. Is that what it says?
Was it?
It's
Oh,
and so people are like, it's a battle hardened. Where the hell is a battle hardened? I don't even know how to change that right now.
I didn't. Oh, you know what? It was from the Minnesota Battle Hard way back when we.
Yeah, I changed the name, but not the thumbnail.
Oops.
I tuned in for Battle Hard in Minneapolis. That's why people are like, come on, what is this? This isn't a Battle Hardened. This is two clowns talking. I ain't listening to this shit.
I don't even know
It's
how to
so
change
good.
it.
And now I lost oh, so one thing I hate, and I'm gonna be the guy I hate. I hate when like people like don't do something or like just to be that person that never did it. I still have not played a game on Talishar, and I think I never will. I think that's the goal in life now is, because everybody posts their amazing people dropping out or their amazing combos. I should just post my Talishar stats and then just be blank, just black. Like, there's my stats, bitches. Never played.
It's funny enough. Andrew comes in and comments, and right before we got on here, I saw somebody made just a post where it was like they're like, why is this guy salty every morning? And I've had to play him. Andrew's like, maybe we should take Talishar for what it is, which is a nameless online testing thing. Like, that's what you get when people don't have to validate their names. They don't have to see you face to face. Turns out, people, that if you go on the internet, people can post without their names and without a picture. It changes what they'll say.
I will say on Blood Bowl 3, right? You'll play people that will just quit when they roll double skulls twice, okay? I've rolled triple skulls into triple skulls, so I don't want to hear people quit, and I still play. But you'll play against people where they're having bad rolls or you're having bad rolls, and they send the emoticon with the guy like the coach shaking his head like, what the hell is even happening? Like, you can have fun at each other's despair and just laugh it off, or you laugh when you just keep rolling bad. Like, I played this last game where I had like 4 guys left and still won 1-0 because his Roger comes in on a triple skulls with no rerolls. He's just like, well, that kind of F's me over, and there I go with the elves. See, your prehensile tail is no longer doing you any good.
So that actually is funny because, like, you don't play Marvel Snap.
Chris, we did talk about Song for like good 10-15 minutes. You have to go back when you're sober and listen to it.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. So, Jason, I know you don't play Marvel Snap. I played a ton of Marvel Snap.
I did.
You did?
I played it too much. And I'm like, okay, so now I just don't play it as much anymore. I'll still play a game like once every week or two.
So one of the things that I like about the emotes in there is that some of them,
amazing.
They're just perfect. You can perfectly time them. Nothing is better than when both of you play like a turn 1 play that's identical, and they do the Spider-Man point and you do the Spider-Man point, and it's just hilarious. Or when they're setting up like a crazy play and you do something obnoxious like send them a goblin and it locks up their space where they're going to destroy everybody with a card next turn, and then they send you like the Deadpool thing where he's got like the arrows sticking out of him. And it's like, I'm glad we're having a good time because this is fun. Like, it's okay. And then you have people who just do the like psychotic emote thing where I'm like, come on, man. And you have to go and mute them because they just keep emoting and emoting and emoting. You're like, come on, get out of here.
So what I loved about Snap is when before the last turn, their overconfidence gets to them and they think they got the win. Yeah. And you have the sneaky play that's going to switch everything around and you win. God, I love when they emote, they think they won. And then you just smash their face. God, that's the greatest feeling ever.
I had somebody. I also like making sure that, like, I'll read the little title sometimes, and one of them was I always snap or something, or like I'll snap if you snap or something. So then I immediately will like push the emote snap ? To be like, hey, your title says you'll snap. So you got to do it. And you know what? I respect somebody who, with no real knowledge of the game, who has 3 cards in hand and hasn't seen the first location. They're just like, snap. And they just hit it. And you're like, yeah, I'm in it. Snap. We're going for 8 cubes no matter what happens. And there are moments where I will stay to the end of a game. And I'm like, I might lose this game and this might cost me 8 cubes. But you know what? They snapped on turn 1. And they said they were going to snap on turn 1. I don't know. They could have lost it. But you know what? They were a man of their word.
You gotta love it, the overconfident snap though. When
I love
think,
the overconfident.
Ah, God, there's nothing better. My
Mom said
title
this is my last game.
This is my last game. Like, he's just straight rambling. We should have just had him come on. And people would have like.
My title is foils only because I like to like max rarity my decks even in Snap. I like to get them all the way to infinity.
So you can have.
I can't help myself.
So like when I played, my son used to play. The hidden mob where you don't. What's the name of that one where they didn't know who was in what role? And it was online. Somebody help me here.
I can't remember. No, not. What is it? Something Among Us.
Among Us.
Yep.
So my name was always Mike Hunt. That's the name I always went with. And people that would like. That usually got me a round or 2 in because people were talking about that too much to focus on the game with just my name. It was a great name. Yep. Oh, another name. I'm going to throw this out for everybody because I sent this meme to our group and one of another fellow lacrosse dad sent it to me. So the Minnesota Wild, Marc-Andre Fleury, almost got in a fight with, was it the Blues goalie maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
And there's a meme posting of the referee after the game saying the biggest mistake in my life was not letting Marc-Andre Fleury go kick that twat waffle's ass. He called him a twat waffle. It could be one of the greatest terms I've ever heard is twat waffle. So you're welcome, community. Go out and prosper and use the word twat waffle because it is an amazing word.
Have you ever played on the getting people to not pay attention to you thing? Have you ever played the game Resistance?
Yeah, I own that game.
Okay. So we love to play that game. And whenever we have people over, we'll have people like when people come over, we're like, we have to play this game. My kids love to play it. So we'll get it out. I'm only emotionally good for like 6 games in a row, and then I'm just spent. Because I'm all in. Problem is, I have found that I'm so good at being a spy because nobody trusts me ever. So I am so massively, apparently, I create so much chaos that nobody will, I'm a good guy and I'm like, I am good. And I'm trying so hard to get people to believe me. They're like, no, he's lying. I know he's lying. He's always lying. And I'm like, I'm not lying this time. And there comes a moment where I'm like almost emotionally spent from the fact that I'm like, feel personally attacked that no one will believe me ever. No matter what side I'm on. From game 1, my daughter will look at me and she's like, you're lying. And I'm like, we haven't even started yet. Like, I haven't even handed out the cards. And she's like, but I know you're going to lie.
Right. It's like One Night Werewolf, but Resistance is a little bit more, it can get a little more complex. I like Resistance. That's a fun game.
I like that. I like that you have to vote on who goes on the missions. It's not just like everybody gets to go and you have to figure it out. It's like somebody has to choose who goes on, and then everybody has to, like, you have to get a majority approval to get to like actually go on the mission. Then you pass or fail it in secret. I just like the fact that it's got like there's a lot of layers to it where you can even mess with people with your voting. You're like, no, I don't trust them. But you know for a fact that one of the people is a spy. But you will just like lie out your ass about it. And you'll be like, no, I'm not letting them go. I know they are. And you try to like do the double agent thing where you're looking dead in the eyes of your teammate who is a spy. And you're like, I do not trust them. And the whole idea is just to try and get it to be a lie. It's like that kind of double agent. It's good, which is why we've talked already about the fact that if we're going to play Song, then we have to be able to play a 4-player game, and there has to be a political aspect.
Also, a game that I want to get in with everybody, and we talked about this, is just a Game of Thrones, a board game, which is just absolutely cutthroat because you're putting down your orders down so they don't know. So you're making treaties and then you're attacking them. It's very, very cutthroat, and I love that style of game. So I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah,
Because
the cutthroat games are great.
we've been having like board game days where we try to get together once a month and play 2, 3, 4 board games, and just I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to just keep playing games and
Yeah.
yeah, you want to win, but at the same time you want to have fun, and you're just harassing each other, which is always good.
We call it the yelling game because we do so much yelling in it.
Yeah, it's so I played it a lot with my wife and my son, and my son would always want to team up against my wife, and always trusted me for 2, 3 turns, and then I'd always stab him in the back. I would always stab him in the back, like clockwork. He'd just basically give me the win. Another one, Battlestar Galactica. I gotta play that because you have I can't think of the names of the robots. No.
Oh jeez, yeah.
Anyways, but another.
Man.
I do like that style of game. I know a lot of people hate that game. It's fun. It's good times.
Trader games can be taxing too. Like you can only play them so much. You can only play so many rounds a lot of times before you start.
Cylons, not Yylons, but I got it from your Yylons.
Yeah, Chris got there. He's getting there.
Nathaniel, where are you from? Are you from Minnesota? You can come play in our board game. Sounds like all the same stuff we do.
Yeah, I mean anybody who wants to be a degenerate and like need to dedicate closet space and build shelves and have like extra spaces in their rooms, you could join our Blood Bowl league and have a chance at the Dick Trophy.
Do you know what kind of I was thinking about this because I'm gonna cut down my the big penis trophy. Sorry, reading comments.
Both Coast, he said.
I'm going to cut down on a bunch of fab cards and just run like 3 decks. So I'm going to be selling a ton. We should just do it on the channel. We should just do a live auction day.
Live auction day?
And sell cards live auction.
You know what? I'm from Iowa. I don't know if live auctions are big here, but live auctions were huge.
I grew up raising animals, so we went to animal auctions all the time. So I'm a big auction guy. I love auctions.
My uncle owned a used furniture store, so he would go to auctions and buy stuff.
Jesus.
he's just gone.
Oh, it's so good. I will say I'm gonna probably go have a little cherry 7-Up and Tito's when we get off this call.
There you go.
This call, like we're on a conference call. Like, we're done here.
Call.
Let's wrap up. These numbers look good. These sales reports look great for the year.
Yeah. Do you have that? Make sure you send that Excel over to me when we're done.
Yeah. Just put your final approval on it.
Yeah. I just gotta get it. So.
Oh. I mean, I think we just leave the Battle Hardened thumbnail. I'll probably get more views on it, right?
It's gonna get a ton of views that way, and people are gonna be so confused. It's really on brand for us at this point to just be like losing subs, talking about all kinds of nonsense. We've got the wrong thumbnail going. We just did it live, but I couldn't go live because there's something wrong with my streaming stuff. So Jason did it last minute.
Summer Sevens.
We're just doing it.
So I will say between my other channel and this channel, I will start putting gameplay up, just because I have microphones and I have the camera ability to do it. That we want to do it. We want to show all the fun games, and if people want to lose subs, we never did this and made money off this anyway, so it really doesn't matter if we gain them or lose them at this point in time. I mean,
it's all for fun, baby.
I mean, and obviously, doing podcasts, we're just gonna be nonsense as normal. We're not gonna change anything there, but we will probably put some gameplay up here eventually and really confuse people to what the hell is happening in this world.
You know what we're gonna do? We are gonna put a Blood Bowl game up, but we're gonna use a fab. We're gonna use a fab thumbnail.
Oh my god! Just wreck people. They'll be so pissed.
But you know what? here's the thing, right? Is that
It would be we will
the
stream Blood Bowl. I'll stream Blood Bowl for sure,
oh
and
yeah
I'll do it soon, just because it's easy. It's really really easy to do, to be honest.
yeah Blood Bowl is
We
an
found
easy
a
one to
I
film
streamed
for
to
sure.
Discord. I didn't. I should have just put it on the channel. I streamed to Discord, so when me and my son did our game, we everybody else could watch as we played,
Hmm.
and it turned out
It was
good.
fun.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we're gonna do that. That's gonna happen.
yeah, yeah. It was a good time. It was genuinely funny to sit. I had it on like while I was painting and
Right, you just
tapping some.
relax and watch.
Yeah, yeah. Listening to Jason and Mason banter back and forth. Dane had it on like on his phone, just listening to it while he was driving for work. He just
Oh,
had it like literally the audio playing.
and I wish I would have seen that too. Uh, Mason got so triggered at the end. He was failing every roll just because it was a tie game. He was pissed because it was a tie game and just triggered because I can't win. My team legit. He tied and we both tied a ton.
Yeah, yeah. You guys were the draw kings. I wish I filmed when I smoked Blake. Yeah, that I mean the fact that Chris was like shocked, I was rolling because there was a moment where he's like, "I'm gonna try and pick up this ball," and he didn't want to pick it up. He wanted to fail. He just wanted it to bounce out. Then he jumps on it, gets a
Is
six, and he's like,
is Nathaniel like just Dane with a new like burner account? Because this like we've talked about doing this exact thing,
"We
doing
have, yeah,
announcers doing ridiculous stuff while the game's going on. So yes, we have talked about that, and that is going to happen,
yeah,
100%, and it is going to be ridiculous because it's Blood Bowl. You wouldn't say anything serious. It it'll be it'll be true entertainment, not like they try on a lot of the fab stuff. Where they go try hard, it's just not funny. They try to be
yeah."
funny, and it just isn't. It's like that awkward silence, but it's over stream, so you don't have to hear the awkwardness.
It's it's like when you know like when you watch a football commentator and they say something and it's like that is on the edge of being inappropriate. You know they weren't sitting in their hotel the night before like, "Oh man, this joke is gonna kill," writing it down to make sure they slipped it in and found the right moment. But then there's other guys who commentate and you listen to and they say something and you're like, that sounds rehearsed. I know that you were watching another football game or you were thinking to yourself, you were on the plane and you're like, "Oh man, if a guy ever fumbles, I'm going to say this and it's going to be so funny and people are going to laugh." And it's like, then it happens and they do it and you're like, it didn't land, man. It just didn't land. It's just that it wasn't working. It's like a lot of times the best comedy at comedy shows is when somebody points at someone in the front row and asks them a question and they just riff. Like that's the best comedy. It's not a lot of times it's not even like the predetermined
No,
set, right? It's when they interact with people and they get moments that they didn't expect and they have to just fly by the seat of their pants. That's so funny. That's sports commentary
so
too.
we'll definitely do this when probably the next board game stuff. I want to record a bunch and do some live streaming, just different channels, whatever. It's so easy. It's actually easier, I think, to film like Blood Bowl stuff because it's not all serious. So you're not like
Yeah.
quiet and oh, you made a mistake. It's just fun. You roll. You try to set up a cage. You try to knock it off. Maybe you can afford a wizard. Maybe you can't. It's just a lot of fun. And I also want to do it with a song of Ice and Fire. I wish that the initials for that ASOIAF was like you could say it. Yeah, we'll do that one too, Chris. Spartacus would be good. I just wish there was does people just call it song? Is that what they call it?
They call it song, yeah. Otherwise you'd have to call it what, a soif?
A soif. I kind of like that though. A soif. We're gonna go play some a soif today.
They're we're gonna show up on like a random Wednesday for people who like love this game so much, and I'm gonna just be renaming everything because I don't know anybody anyway. We're gonna be like, "You guys playing a soif? I love playing a soif."
Oh, I
It's
love
like,
it. Yep,
so
yep. We're here on
have-
Wednesday. What are you guys here for? Oh yeah, we're here to play soif.
For the soif? I've said it before. My favorite show.
Played root.
Yep. My favorite show ever is Psych, and there's this hilarious episode where he has a flashback and his dad's teaching him chess. and
On what?
he can't show psych.
Psych. Okay.
So he has he has like a flashback where his dad's teaching him chess, and his dad's like, "You have to know chess. It's important. It's good for strategy." And then he asks him, he goes, "I'm gonna move the pointy hat guy," and he goes, "No, you have to know their names." And then he holds up a knight, and he goes, "What is this one's name?" And in all seriousness, Sean just looks at it and he goes, "I call that one Wait." And it's like every time I see it, I laugh out loud at it. And it makes me think of if I don't know what's happening, it's like someone is going to be very serious and love Game of Thrones, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to move Jeff the Dragon. That's going to be my activation. They're going to be like, who is Jeff the Dragon? Be like, I don't actually know how to pronounce their name.
This guy.
But I call this one Jeff. It's Jeff. He looks like a Jeff to me.
Nathaniel, Root's great, and also Oath.
Root.
Our group played Oath, which is really, really, really fun. Enjoyed that game tremendously. And it's cool because our buddy that brought it has played with different groups. In the world, he keeps together, but he doesn't care what groups played it because we're changing the world of the Oath world. So...
very good. Cool legacy game.
Yeah,
very
great.
Cool
just because it's still the same game every time, just different rules come in. So it's not like a legacy game where... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to explain.
Yeah. I think the big thing is a lot of legacy games require you to kind of carry a player through, very, very D&D style, because you you need the same person to understand how their player interacts with the game. But with Oath, it doesn't change the mechanics of the game. It doesn't change. It just alters some of the win cons
in the rules. Yeah, in the rules. Of the land.
Like how the and it's like, but it doesn't break from the rule set. It just uses different parts of the rule set more heavily than others.
Because I won, and I'm actually proud of the way I won. One, because Sam thought he had some stuff going on until I threw a huge curveball, so that felt real good. And the disappointment on his face was just priceless. So I got to pick whatever the law, I forget what it's called, the law or the rule for the next time it starts. That's going to be one of the objectives you were going for. Because we were going to go for... Was it treasures? I forget what they were called that we had to get.
For treasures or relics.
Relics. 100% relics. Yep. Because that's what I did. I made a sweet-ass move that got relics, and the disappointment on Sam's face. Because he does disappointment well. Sam does disappointment real well.
What made that great was, like, I was a turn behind.
Correct.
I had it. If I had one more turn, I had it. Sam... had it set up, and then you disrupted.
I think I did it like literally this. So you were going to do it the next turn after me because you went before, and Sam was going to immediately go for the big play after me, and I just crushed it.
And you had it. So we had this great moment where Chris was trying to stop us because if it got back to him, he could win. I had it on the next cycle,
and
you got it at the right moment. Sam had it
that cycle. Yeah. And I still wasn't guaranteed to win. There was still a bunch of bartering and happening at the table with Chris is like, whoa. Well, you could do this and I can have you. It was absolutely amazing game.
And then the only thing that made it better was the fact that Dane had a line for the win, but it was the equivalent of saying, like, okay, when do we sprint? It's like you need to sprint the last 20 meters of the race. And he goes, you got it. I'm going to win this thing. And at 50 meters, he sprinted for 20 as hard as he could and then looked up and realized there were 30 meters left.
And it was over.
He was ahead of us. He was ahead of us way too early. And then at 20 meters, we all ran right by him.
You think if you ever played Twilight Imperium or Twilight Struggle, which one am I thinking of? Imperium,
yeah, the big one.
The big one. So a lot of the same stuff is happening in the game, the way you're talking with everybody else that's at the table, except for that there's a controller, which our buddy Chris was playing.
Yeah, they play the king.
But it's the same thing. I lost Twilight Imperium because I went like a couple rounds too early and got too many points too fast and then just became attacked on.
Target,
A lot of the same stuff in Oath, except for you cut out 5 hours of gameplay. Because Oath can be done in like an hour and a half. And if you all knew the game, I think you could do it easily in an hour. You could do a session in an hour pretty easily once you knew it. Because we were going pretty fast at the end. Table talk is not allowed.
That's a lot. Table talk is always allowed, even when the game says it's not.
When we do 4-player a soif, there'll be a lot of table talk.
A lot of table talk playing a soif.
And it's like UPF in Fab. There should be a lot of if you're playing that game right.
Yep.
There should be a lot of table talk going on. That should be part of the game.
For a good chunk of last summer, I would go play at Battlegrounds. I'd play at the Armory, and then afterwards we would stick around and play a UPF game for whoever wanted to play. So sometimes it'd be like 4 of us, sometimes it would be 6 of us, and we would just play with whoever wanted to play. And most of the time that I won, it was 100% because I just kept talking, and I just tried to just get everyone talking and negotiating amongst themselves. And there would be times where I would try to negotiate 2 other people, and the whole intent was just to get them talking and then to kind of step out of it. Let other people, it's like, hey, what do we got going over here? Peter seems like he's trying to negotiate. I don't know, what are you doing, Peter? You talking to Cody? Why are you doing that? 30 seconds ago, I was the one initiating the conversation between the 2 of them. I stepped away just long enough for them to discuss a second, and then stepped back in to try and avert attention to them, just so I could sit back there with Kano, like quietly, like they are never going to see this coming.
Yeah, I like that. And I know UPF and Fab can go a long time from what I've heard in games. Yeah. So figuring out a shorter way and just to clean up those mechanics a little bit. I do love all versus all, that type of game where you're table talking and that what's in your hand no longer matters.
Sometimes I think that the thing that UPF can struggle from is the fact that you can't do anything to people at other points in the table. Like, you can only go left and right, and it kind of alters the dynamic where you can't, you're forced into certain alliances as opposed to others. And I think that sometimes that can hurt it. I get that the draw mechanic can be problematic, but it's like you could find a way where maybe people can only be attacked a certain number of times, or I don't know what it is, but it's like the idea that you can, but again, at the same time, it's like, I mean, just don't set a limit and somebody just has to talk their way out of it, talk their way into it, right? It's like anybody can attack anybody. And if everybody wants to attack one person, it's like, now it's your job as that person who's getting attacked to be like, look, 2 of you attacked me. I've got 3 life. I can die at any time. Just let me play another round. Just like, I'm no harm. I'll help you. I just don't want to be the first one out. Kill that guy first.
If you can attack it, like, just make it attack anybody you want. And you can just house rule that and see how it works and go from there.
Yeah.
That's what's great about UPF. Just house rule.
I think there needs to be some house ruling, but
so we're at 1 hour and 12 minutes and 52 seconds. So I think my parting thoughts is, if you're still listening to us now, we appreciate it. I hate when people say that. I don't know why I just said that, to be honest.
Yeah.
It felt really cringy. But I would like to put some of our other games that we're playing up on the channel. And we hope people enjoy watching it as we do it, because it's fun and you might find something else besides cards. It's one of those things, you might appreciate Fab more when you step away and play another game like these other games that we play. Mm-hmm. You'll appreciate the agency you have as a player to control your destiny a little bit more than when dice. Now, you could lose the dice roll, because I heard that's really bad, and you lose games when you lose a dice roll in Fab.
It's true.
Heard that before. And I've heard that I only lost because I drew bad. I've also heard that before. But you obviously have more agency than strict dice roll. So you might appreciate the game more and find other games within this hobbies and other ways to support your local gaming store, so they don't have to charge you $10 to sit at a table, even though you spend more than that every single time you go there. Right? You got anything, Blake? Did you freeze on me? I feel like you froze. You there, Blake?
Did you lose me?
Oh, there you go. You're back. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Final thoughts, Blake.
Final thoughts. I really hope that if we start throwing random stuff on the channel, that we like all of a sudden explode and realize that we've spent 2.5 years trying so hard to do fab content, and if we just did what we loved, then we would like double in subs. But also fully ready and 100% prepared to somehow drop below 1,000 and have to do a 1,000 subscriber giveaway again, because I think that would be funny.
Wait, you'll see the email from FGG. You're all alone. Jason was scared. I don't know what that means, Chris. You're drunk. We'll talk about this when you sober up in the morning.
He's so out. He's out. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, I got nothing else besides I hope you enjoy stuff, because we're going to be putting more games on.
Yeah.
Just for the hell of it. Because it's easy. It's easy. And it's always good.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't think we edit. I think the quality of the stuff we have just to do it live is just easier. And it's easier to come back and timestamp if there's dead air, or just delete it all using the YouTube. The YouTube-ish.
YouTubes.
Because that's what What's Their Nuts are doing right now. Team Covenant's doing that. They're doing their live stream, come back, cutting it up into pieces, and using those pieces for little segments. So if you like something, instead of even just putting it out as videos. So, something to do. That's all I got. Now I'm really done. Anything else, Blake?
Yeah. No, I'm done. I just got a message about selling something, so I'm going to message somebody about selling a card. So
you sell that. Make that money. Make that money. Buy
gotta
and
pay
sell
for
the
the-
fire nice.
got to pay for the degeneracy somehow, right?
Right. That's how we do it. We sell something,
Yep.
get some new ones.
Exactly. Cycle it around.
What is that? All right, I got a message
Yeah, okay.
about buying stuff,
Okay.
so we're just
There you go.
distracted now. So
We're
thanks for
distracted now.
listening.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you, everybody. If you're still with us, like and subscribe. I don't know why I said that. I just said it because I feel like I have to.
Yeah, or don't like and subscribe. You can do
That's
that
fine,
too.
too.
That's your
Yeah.
other option. You can just listen
Like
to us.
and
We get
like
the
and unsubscribe.
we get the same amount of money whether you like and subscribe or you don't. It's zero. So
Don't subscribe. Don't like. Just comment. Like comments or respond to comments and unsubscribe. Whatever combination you want to do, you do whatever you
yeah,
want.
the combo's up to you. Or roll a dice to see
Roll
what
a
you're
dice.
gonna do. We would prefer that method the most.
No agency. Just roll a dice.
We're gonna come up with how from now on you're gonna have to roll dice to like, subscribe, or comment, and we'll give you the rules, and maybe you can earn
Yep.
some modifiers to mitigate bad rolls that you have to get plus minus modifiers, and we'll come up with that, and we'll give that to everybody.
Yeah, and we could give stuff away because we still have stuff we have to give away.
Yeah, screw that.
Whatever, we'll figure it out. We'll give away for it. We'll make people tell us their favorite Blood Bowl team and then give away a fab mat for it.
That would be amazing.
Just mess with people.
Yeah, and we'll print them a little Blood Bowl guide to go with the Fab Man.
Yep, 3D print.
Yeah, 3D
Put it
print.
with the bat.
Yeah, sweet.
Done deal.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll be back when
Yeah.
we're back. Maybe next
Yep.
week we might just be lazy and say we screwed again like we did last week. So you
Yeah.
never know anymore.
You never know. Or just keep you guessing.
Peace out.
Peace.